What's up, Denver Digs? Hey, Denver Digs, it's local cideries. Today we're at Haykin Family Cideries and we're going to meet Talia. And I'm telling you guys, we're in for a tasty treat. Let's roll. What's up, Denver Digs? Today we are at Haykin Family Cidery, and I'm with Talia, and I am telling you what, we are in for a tasty treat today. Okay, so thank you for having us. Thank you for hosting us here.
Absolutely.
We've got all sorts of stuff going on here. You are conveniently located at I-70 in
Peoria.
Wonderful. And we got bottling going on back here.
We're busy today.
Got the whole crew rolling. We've got a couple of wonderful ciders. Salud. So I wanted to just start with the concept.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you choose to start this concept, this family? We can see behind us all of these historical photos of beautiful fruit. In this case, apples. But why cidery and why for your family?
Wow. So it was an accident.
Okay.
It was not intentional.
Okay.
My husband and I decided to start making cider right after we got married, just for fun, because we thought it was interesting and we had tried some ciders and they were delicious. So we decided to try making it. We put up that first batch in October of 2013, finished it. Tried it. It was terrible. I said, great, we're done. We did it. My husband said, no, I can make this better. And so thus began our journey. It was about 18 months before we realized that the output was never going to be better than the input. So as long as we're buying store-bought pasteurized juice, which is all that was available to us, juice-wise at that time, that was as good as our cider was going to be. So we purchased a grinder and a press for our tiny townhome garage and started buying apples from local growers at farmers markets. So at that point, our cider got really good and we were just planning to continue as hobbyists. We won some of the highest awards in the cider world after that, and some investors approached us about starting this business. We turned them down and said, no way, I don't want that in my life. We have a young kid. But then we realized this is like a dream, right? Like this is the thing that you do when you retire and you get to have a winery or something, you know? So we decided to give it a shot, and here we are.
Wow. Congratulations on all the success. Speaking of that, I see medals and ribbons and awards donning the hallways and the banyos here as well. Yes. So can you tell us a little bit about, and tell our viewers, like some of that you mentioned, like you kind of won that first award, but what has happened and transpired since then?
Sure. So we entered as amateurs. So there are kind of two levels in the awards world, and that's, you know, the amateur, you just make cider for fun, and then the professional commercial cidery level. Not like this. They're like this. They're not going to put a commercial cidery against a guy making it in his basement. So initially we entered as amateurs, won gold medals as amateurs, won best cider in the competition, and we won the best cider in one of the most prestigious amateur competitions, which is Franklin County Cider Days in Massachusetts. That was like pretty big for us because that was like a long-term goal, but that was the first time we entered that competition. And then we decided to become a cidery in planning, so moving to the commercial side. At that time, we entered the largest cider competition in the world, which happens to be in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and won best in class at that competition. So in the same year, we won the highest award for amateur cider makers and the highest award for commercial cideries. And we knew that we were probably onto something at that point. Every year we have won best in class for our ciders at this large cider competition in Grand Rapids. And I think every single cider we've ever entered has medaled. So we we're very fortunate. We're very honored that people like our cider that much. And they're all on our website if you're curious to see what's when what.
It's obvious that you not only use amazing ingredients, but that you put a lot of love into all the cider you guys produce. So.
Yes, for sure. There's a lot of thoughtfulness that goes into our product, and we started making cider because we wanted a certain flavor profile, and we've never abandoned that sort of ethos around our cider. We don't want additives. We don't want flavorings. We don't want added sugar in anything. We want to showcase the apple. We like to push pause on a fresh apple, put it in your bottle, in your glass, and let you drink that fresh apple a year from now, 2 years from now. So our goal is to let the apple sort of sing and see how amazing it is. And we don't need additives or sugar or anything else to do that.
Okay. So you kind of profiled what someone will experience here, like I am now, in terms of tasting the complexity, the uniqueness of the different apple varieties. But can you walk us behind the scenes a little bit?
Sure.
And tell our viewers a little bit about the process that happens and what makes you guys different.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the big things that sets us apart from most other cideries is our focus on single varietals. Okay. So just like a wine, if it's made of 70% of one grape, that's considered a single varietal. So you can blend up to 30% of other grapes in, but it is still that single varietal. When you purchase a Merlot wine at the store, that is the Merlot grape. Right? So when you purchase a Manchurian crabapple cider at Haykin Family Cider, you are getting a Manchurian crabapple in your glass. So we don't have fancy names for our ciders. The name on the bottle is the name of the apple. We also, like I said, don't add any sugar. That kind of keeps us standing apart from our competition as well. Okay. We want you to know where the apples in your glass came from, and we know those growers. We've had relationships with them. Every vintage of our cider is different because it depends on how it grew that year. Was there a lot of water? Was there not a lot of water? That kind of thing. But as for our process, we try and purchase as much Colorado fruit as possible.
Okay.
So we have growers on the western slope in Hotchkiss, Paonia, that area. And then we have one grower in Fort Collins, Colorado. And then, so we purchase as much as we can from Colorado first. And then once we have done that, there are weather events and all sorts of fun things here in Colorado. So we have some growers in Washington State and Oregon where they have a similar growing region to us. So we're a high elevation desert and they have the same kind of growing region out there. And so we purchase apples from them after that. Then we process all of the Colorado fruit as we get it. So we grind it, we press it, make it into juice, stick it in tanks, and get it started on its ferment. The Washington growers will hold the juice for us. They'll press it for us and hold it. So what we can do is take that fresh fruit from Colorado right away and process it and make it into cider, ferment it into cider. And then this time of year, when I don't have any more fresh fruit, we can get frozen fruit or frozen juice from our other growers and continue our throughput. So otherwise, my guys are working 24 hours a day and there's no way we can make that happen. So it's kind of fallen into a nice rhythm in the past few years.
Okay. Love that. Super unique. Mm-hmm. I love the purity of what you're doing,
Thank you.
And I know there's a lot of people out there that'll say, thanks for not adding a bunch of sugar into this, to be able to experience this at a very simple level.
Right. The interesting thing is because when we say we don't add sugar, people think, well, then your ciders must be super dry, but it's a winemaking technique. So just like not all wine is super dry, you can stop the fermentation at different points. And we'll stop the fermentation. We taste it constantly throughout the process. As you saw, one of my staff members brought me some cider to try. Yeah. We're tasting it constantly throughout the process, trying to see what that apple wants to be. So I never decide to make a dry cider or a sweet cider we taste it, and we say, okay, you know what? This is a perfect balance of that apple's acidity, its tannins, its sugar, all of those things, its fruitiness. They balance it out, and that's the perfect cider. And it could be sweeter than we anticipated or drier than we anticipated, but we want to do the right thing for that apple at that time, not what I think I need to have a dry cider or something like that.
Okay, very cool. Love that. Love the technicality of that.
Yeah.
And scientific approach. So, and by science, I mean your palate.
Exactly.
Right?
My palate is sort of the deciding factor on everything around here.
Well, we are in one section, which
yes.
I know is where you guys started.
Yep.
And now you've expanded.
We have.
Tell our viewers about what to expect, like what's coming up.
Yeah, so we have a really nice bar here. Our intention was always to have a small tasting room in addition to our production facility. So it's sort of wrapped around production. So when you're sitting at the bar, you're seeing us make cider right in front of you.
So
and
cool.
It's cool, but it's actually really functional. Like this is not colored water. We are actually making cider in there. But we quickly outgrew this space, and we're in an industrial condo, so the 3 units to the end of the building became available and we purchased them, and so now we own these 4 units. Eventually, we're hoping to expand and create a larger tasting room on the other side of the building and maybe some outdoor space, but that's very long term.
Okay, very cool. We've covered a lot of bases here. We know where the fruit comes from. We understand the process and how it works. Anything else our viewers should know?
So I would just say that, our process takes a lot longer than most people.
Okay.
We take 6 months to make a cider. We'll get that fruit in or we'll get that juice in and we start the process, and it's a slow fermentation and it works. And then even when it's finished, it's not ready for the customer. We'll often like to keep things in bottles for a little bit of time prior to releasing it because we don't sterile filter and we don't pasteurize. So every bottle has living yeast in it and it continues to age and change. So you can cellar our bottles for years. We have opened up bottles we made in 2015 and it's really exciting to try that. But it's really amazing how much better our cider gets on month 2 than day 2, and then on year 2 it's even better. So our process is a lot longer than other people. We started doing French champagne methods, French sparkling methods, I should say, because it's not method champenois, it's method ancestral. So method champenois requires a dosage of sugar in the process, and we don't want to do that because we don't add sugar to anything.
Okay.
So method ancestral uses the fruit's own sugar to do everything, to ferment and then to carbonate. And so we have been doing that. We have ciders that have been aging on the lees for a year, 2 years, and that whole process has been going on since about 2018. And we're just starting to release those bottles now, and they're pretty amazing.
Exciting. So obviously, we know we can belly up to the bar here and enjoy. Is there any other places or resources that people can order?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Enjoy your cider?
So we are in, I don't even know the number anymore, a number of fine dining restaurants and local liquor stores.
Okay.
And if we're not in your liquor store, please ask for us by name.
Okay.
But in particular, Potager has us on their menu. Okay. It's a great institution in Colorado. Fruition has us on their menu. Nice. Another really great institution in Colorado. Yeah. And so we have a handful of really incredible people that we work with in dining that keep us on the menu, either by the glass or by the bottle. If you don't want to do that, we also, or you're maybe from out of town, we can also mail order you some cider. You're within the 40 states that have nice liquor laws. Okay. You can order it on our website and we can ship it out to you. We can ship it locally to Colorado, but we can also ship to 40 states too. So we have some really nice flexibility because we are a wine. Okay. We're not a beer. Most people think of cider as cider beer or a gluten-free alternative to beer, but we're not. We are a wine, and the laws treat us that way, so we can ship across state lines.
Okay. Love it. Thank you, Talia,
for
your time, for all the love you pour into this, along with your lovely family.
Yes, thank you.
Visit the website to see more about the family.
Check out the family.
New updates coming soon. Thank you again for having us here today. And cheers to success in the future. Denver Digs, until next time, enjoy.